I'm Cheyenne Adamson, and welcome to the YesPhonics channel, where homeschoolers, teachers, and educators everywhere come for valuable teaching information and insights. In our last video, I talked about the question that is asked of people who want to homeschool their children, which is, are you qualified to teach them? But more often than not, the parents worry about this question about themselves. Am I qualified to teach my children? And the answer is almost always yes. So studies have shown that even though parents who homeschool their children have a variety of backgrounds and education levels, from college graduates to high school dropouts, the educational background of the parent has almost no effect on the outcome of the children. So don't be daunted by, oh, well, I just don't have the right qualifications. I haven't had any experience in this realm. Doesn't matter. So really, one of the biggest downfalls of homeschooling is that the parents stopped homeschooling too early. What does have a great impact on the outcome of homeschooling is the parents' willingness to become a student. So homeschooling is like any other worthwhile pursuit in that the more you learn, the more there is to learn. You're going to have to wade through a lot of information as the worlds of curricula, support groups, conventions, authors, textbooks, and learning styles begin to open up to you. So it becomes your duty to ensure that your children have quality curricula, an adequate workspace, and good lighting, and access to a computer when necessary, and also a routine that works for your family. It also takes time, effort, and good planning to make these things happen. And I'm sure all of you can agree that that's the case. And I don't think anybody getting into homeschool or homeschooling their children has any reservations about taking that time and doing it. And I don't think anybody has any delusions that it won't take hard work. So I think everybody getting into homeschooling is in it for the right reasons and have the right mindset. They just need a little extra motivation every once in a while. So as you conduct your research, talk to others who homeschool and listen to different speakers on relevant topics. Pursue different styles, and pretty soon you're going to be able to understand ideas and concepts in different ways, maybe in a different light, which will help you choose which avenues work better for your children and maybe less optimal for others. And as you continue down this road of research, you'll attain the wisdom along the way, I promise. So it is absolutely important to take time for yourself, because you do need to plan, you do need to gather materials needed for the day, the week, the month. So you have to have a good idea of where you're going to be academically, socially, and even spiritually at that point. So when you're teaching a child, there's always going to be the subjects that they'll do better at than the others. So for instance, I was always really good at language arts, English, reading, public speaking. I wasn't very good at math. So that's going to be you're going to encounter these same types of situations with your children or with your students. They're going to be really good at math, and maybe they'll lack a little bit of comprehension skills on reading, or vice versa. But fear not, because if you can find something to replace that, find a different teaching style to help aid that student in a particular subject, that's going to be really important. It is the parent/teacher's job to find something that works better for the student, whether it's a learning style or just finding a way to push through when it starts to get challenging. And it's not always easy to make changes in your schooling approach, for sure, but it's sometimes necessary. The first step is admitting that you have a problem. And once you do that, you'll realize that others have struggled and are willing to share how they made it through these tough situations. Where do you find these people? That is a good question. In hundreds of online forums, at homeschool conventions, anywhere you meet a fellow homeschooler, really. You're not alone in your struggles, and there is always relief. So let's talk about possible disqualifications. So what if a family isn't qualified for homeschooling? These are touchy situations, but once in a while, it's what's best for the family. If you truly believe the following statements of you and your family, then unfortunately, you might not be willing to see other viewpoints, and you shouldn't homeschool your children. And I know this might not set well with a lot of people, but it's just the hard facts of reality. So the following are some questions if you say these out loud and you say these things, and you probably shouldn't be homeschooling. I can't really get him to do anything at home. If this statement is really true, then homeschooling won't work. If you're committed to educating your children for the future, then it is a worthwhile endeavor to teach them the benefits of listening and respecting what others have to say. Learning to read, study, listen, and work well are really important aspects of growing into a productive adult. We don't have a computer. No, we can't get to the library to use our computers because it's too far. It's too far away, and besides, we don't like their policies. Well, this statement isn't necessarily just about computers. If you're prone to making excuses that never end, you probably shouldn't homeschool your children. Another statement might be, I can't be at home much during the day because I have to work, but I'll buy a great DVD program or sign up with an online program and make sure my child gets his work done. The thing about this is one of the biggest downfalls of homeschooling is that parents let go of the teaching and managing way too early. Of course, we want children to be creative and learn to work independently, but children left to themselves completely will take shortcuts, and they can get away with as much as they can. This is not only in their nature, but in ours as well. They need teaching, supervision, and motivation, someone to keep them on task and working at a good pace. So in short, being qualified to homeschool your children, it has little to nothing to do with being stamped, sealed, or having a certified document of some sort from a higher institution. It has way more to do with having a persevering attitude, being willing to push constantly and continually to learn and push through difficulties and have the wisdom to seek other or better solutions when necessary. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't come off too brash or harsh when saying what might disqualify somebody from homeschooling. But again, these aren't set in stone. These are just suggestions. These are just things, questions that you can ask yourself, and some ideas, some food for thought. So if you like what we're doing, if you like the videos that we're putting out, go ahead and give us a subscription. Maybe leave a comment below, give us a like, and I'd love to start a discussion with you guys. If you have any questions or concerns or want to see something for a future video, let me know. And as always, my fellow educators, be well, and I'll catch you next time.